Anyways, that leads us into a very not average film. We watched this one in theaters because it was airing in theaters for some fucking reason. That being the 1997 film Neon Genesis Evangelion, The End of Evangelion, as explained by Tanner. Please tell us in detail, great detail, about the plot of this film.
Okay, so here's what happens. We walk into the theater and Shinji is fucking coming on Asuka's comatose body.
We didn't see that.
We missed that part, unfortunately, but it happens.
It's fucking bullshit, man! How can we miss it?
Because you guys are never early to movies, even though I say you should be.
This is the only time they've ever not had 3 fucking hours of pre-roll ads.
True,
before a movie.
we were expecting pre-roll, but also, I abdicate all blame because I was in the car ready to go several minutes earlier, so...
I'm an innocent bystander.
You know what? Nico was the last one in the car, so it's his fault we missed the scene. And then fucking they're dicking around in the facility for a while, and then Seal fucking attacks with their armies, and they're blowing shit up, and it's crazy and bad. And then Shinji gets in the robot after being molested by Masato, and then the third impact starts, and then it doesn't start, and then it starts again, and then Rei gets big and crazy, and then all the humans are blown up because Shinji wanted that to happen, but then he realized he doesn't, so they go kind of never mind, and then it's him and her on a beach, and she says, fuck you, or
You forgot
something.
about the part where Asuka fights the angels, arguably the best part of the movie.
Asuka fights some angels, Rei has a clitoris on her head, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Here's my haiku as inspired by End of Evangelion.
Oh boy.
Come on, Asuka. Rei's head has a clitoris. Anno's an incel.
Anno.
That's the creator of the thing.
Oh. Yeah, I understood absolutely nothing about this movie. It is literally not even a joke when I say the best part of this movie is when Asuka was fighting the angels.
You didn't like any of the cool fucking tactical shit where the JSSDF was infiltrating Nerve?
Not when you
didn't
use...
like seeing the cool explosions and shit?
Not when you reuse animated content.
Where?
Specifically outside with, like, the military armament barrage.
I have actually no idea what you're talking about.
You know,
was it really obvious I just missed it?
Yeah, like all the helicopters and tanks were doing the same fucking animations when they were shooting the fucking base. Anyway,
like
that
in just
doesn't
like
matter.
one scene, or they just kept showing the same scene over and over again?
Not like back to back, but they definitely showed the same scene over and over.
That's a very weird criticism. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I don't
and
remember anything else about this movie, Jackson.
Some of the best animation was literally the fucking JSFTF attacking the Nerve base. That was super well done. You could feel the impact of all the explosions. You could feel the fucking the emotions of all these people being, it's kind of reminded me of like fucking Half-Life 1 when whatever the alternative dimension goes into the base. I can't remember any of the names of anything in Half-Life 1, but TLDR, it's like a fucking underground research lab that gets infiltrated by the military government, and they're just shooting scientists and stuff indiscriminately. Kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, and you fight like the big baby at the end or whatever.
The big baby.
Jackson,
AKA,
I think
Rey and her fat tits.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you could feel the explosions and stuff because the sound system in the movie theater was turned up incredibly loud and it shook the theater.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna...
I kind of wish we saw more actual fighting. It was mostly just like hallways of Nerve corpses and then, the SEAL guys running around.
Well, I think that's to, like, really illustrate how out of their element the Nerve people were. Like, they talked about how, like, they really cut our budget for this shit to, like, fight close quarters and, like, against other people. So it would make sense that, like, these people could just easily come in and just slaughter them, which I think, added a lot to, like, the tension of those scenes.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it is just a fucking research lab basically being infiltrated by a government military force. Like, what the fuck are they supposed to do about that? They have plenty of defensive measures, but they don't really have anything offensive outside the Avas. Honestly, that was the whole purpose of them going there, was to get them to start the third impact.
My only
That's
other big
enough,
complaint that I think, I'm sure I maybe share this with probably Tanner. I hate Shinji as a character so much. I hate him so much. I used to not mind him. I thought he was just okay based on these other movies. But no, I hate him so much because all he does is mopes and complains and talks about how much he wants to kill himself. Meanwhile, everybody around him is dying. And then by the time he finally decides to shape up and do something, which in this movie, by the time he does that, everybody's pretty much dead. And also he doesn't do anything because they make it such a big deal that, oh, it's the devil... Eva, and then he doesn't do anything, and then he gets sucked up into space, and then it's all over. Everybody dies. This movie does nothing.
Yeah, you not having the context of the anime absolutely ruins the film for you, because like that's like the whole point. What do you mean?
I asked if I watched the anime if it would make these movies better, and you're like, no, because you'd have to learn a little more than just what's in the anime. Which, if that's the case, that doesn't seem like it would help me at all.
If I said that previously, I was ignorant then. I don't know how the fuck I would say that. Watching the anime is absolutely giving you context of this shit. I think I initially said that I just didn't know whether or not the anime was like a prerequisite requirement to enjoy this movie.
It 100% is.
Which I didn't know, because I haven't watched this movie in a really long time. I watched this back in like fucking high school after I initially watched Evangelion, so that was, a long-ass time ago. I didn't remember fucking anything about this movie, and I think going into it raw and blind, basically, in a movie theater was the best way of doing it. So you got a massive disservice not, getting the character arc of Shinji throughout 24 or 26 episodes of an anime.
What character arc? He seems like he didn't go anywhere.
I mean, if you didn't get 26 episodes of context of his character, I think it's pretty understandable you wouldn't understand his position in all of this.
But
he's a kid that's been fucking beaten down, he's been abused his whole life, he's been neglected. Every time he's sent to go do something, he's immediately shut down, he's in pain, he's getting yelled at, he's still neglected, he's in a horrible headspace. And you want him to just fucking man up and just get it done? No, dude, he doesn't give a shit about anybody. Everyone's a fucking dick to him. No, he doesn't have a single person to latch onto in this fucking world whatsoever. Why would you ever expect it? He's a child, too. He's a child experiencing all of this.
Yeah, what Jackson is saying is he has a reverse character arc where he goes from being relatively normal and active in the beginning of the series to being a piece of shit.
There's a big reason for that, though, Tanner. You see, this film was written as, like, this is the bad ending to the anime, Where in, like, Evangelion would get that big ending, everyone's clapping for Shinji. That's the good ending. This is if things went horribly wrong, and Shinji decided to reject humanity instead. This is what ends up happening because of that. So, like, this film was written as a response to how people felt about the original anime's ending, and you can definitely fucking feel it. Because, like, Shinji's supposed to be, like, the audience surrogate or whatever. Like, he's us. And so this is how Anno views us. We're just people who want to fucking jack off to Asuka and be recluses and reject, like, self-improvement and shit like that, which is what the original ending was trying to sort of preach. Like, hey, you can improve if you really, like, want to and, like, reach out to people. But no, apparently you don't want to do that. You don't like that idea. So here, watch this big action fight where Asuka gets fucking obliterated. And then guess what? You want lore? Everyone wants lore for Evangelion. Check it out. Look at all this fucking lore. You like it? You enjoying the lore now? Hey, Shinji's fucking killing Asuka at the end. That's how I view you. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, I definitely suffered from the Jackson syndrome watching this movie. Yeah, because
the Jackson syndrome. What is the Jackson syndrome?
I haven't watched anything else to do with Evangelion, so it made this movie bad.
Oh, you're talking about fucking Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball and also fucking Guardians 3. Anyway.
Jackson syndrome might be a good name for that, actually. I like that.
But here's the thing, and this is just to hop back to this tangent really quick, because I remember walking out of the movie theater, and I was like, Jackson, that movie was awful. Do you think I would understand more or not if I went to go watch the anime? And you're like, well, you can watch the anime, but I don't think it's going to help you understand, like, what just happened. And that's what I got out of that.
Oh, I do remember saying that now. That's the reason I'll just still defend that point, actually, because with Evangelion, you really have to be, like, pretty introspective about these characters, and I'm not trying to, this isn't a slight towards you, but you definitely look at things pretty surface level with this type of shit. Again, I'm not trying to, like, make a slight, we definitely all have our types of mediums, but Evangelion is a pretty deep subject matter. A lot of people will watch it and just think it's cool robots fighting each other when, there's a lot more going on below the surface. And I think most people, especially, like, just from your retrospective about watching the rebuild films, I would imagine if you're watching the original series, you'd probably be into this cool robot shit, not really understand what's going on with the emotional stuff, and then the ending final episode, you're like, what the fuck is going on? And maybe you'd go watch some videos about it to get some explanation. But I'm just saying I don't know if it would have worked on you.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of liken it more to something like Kingdom Hearts, I guess, where like on the surface, like if you're just like watching like one thing like in fucking isolation from like all the other shit, it looks like it's insanely complicated and shit like that. But like, you know, if you like actually just like, I don't know, sit down and like have it like basically explained to you or like kind of experience like the whole thing, I think it's very easy to grasp. I don't think it's like
once
that
you have
deep.
the thing explained to you, you'll understand what the thing is.
Here's the
if you
thing.
just experience it normally.
Here's the thing. I do try to take the easiest route possible. I do try to just have surface level. The issue I had with this movie is because when I was first introduced to Evangelion, it was the rebuilt movies, which was a hell of a lot of angels fighting each other. Like, lots of robots fighting angels. That's what I thought Evangelion was about. Watching this movie and having that be the complete opposite, if I know there needs to be more to a world, like for example, when I watched Attack on Titan, at first it was cool because it was like, you know, people fighting titans, you know, that was the thing. Then the story deepened and I wanted to understand more. If I knew that's how Evangelion padded out, of course I'm going to want to understand how the world works. It's just I didn't like this movie because I didn't have that introduction. I would like to understand Evangelion more in depth, but if all I knew was fighting robots, and that's not what this movie was, then that's kind of an expected outcome.
Yeah, fair enough, and that's why I'm saying it's a disservice that you weren't able to watch the original for it.
I'll probably rate this movie higher if I watch the anime and we get to our re-rankings. We'll see.
As the resident Evangelion hater here, you know, I have seen the show. I've seen this movie before. I still don't really like it all that much, so I don't know if watching the show will actually help you, Dylan.
Well,
and
yeah, given your ranking of A Silent Voice, I can't imagine a deeply emotional topic addressing, you know, fucking reclusion of society, neglect, all these things would resonate much with you.
Here's my thing. I don't think Evangelion is deep. I think it's obtuse, and purposely so. So I find it kind of pretentious. Do you
not agree with the fact that if so many people can find value in something that could be deeper than it? Do you really think that everybody is just a fucking douchebag that doesn't actually, that is like, it's just faux intellectualism, and that everybody is just falling into that, and it is really just dumb shit with robots punching each other that's just supposed to be like grabbing your attention, and it's actually not deep at all?
Yes. I 100% am more willing to believe that.
That's crazy.
To each their own, I guess. Everyone else is wrong but you.
Yeah, you know, everyone's entitled to be retarded every now and then, Tanner.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like, yeah, a large group of people can become convinced of something, especially when it becomes like a popular belief in the culture. You know?
Liberals.
The big thing with art, though, is even if, like, let's say somebody writes a story with a relatively open ending, right? People can infer lots of different things based around what could be happening with it, how it's supposed to end, things like that. Art, just generally speaking, is open to interpretation. There's a lot of different things you can grab from it. Somebody can grab something completely different than a story that somebody else does because of maybe their own life experiences and things like that. They can resonate with characters more than somebody else can and get completely different experiences out of it. And I think that is what makes Evangelion deep, is because it has those types of patterns that people can agree with. Plus, there's just a lot of thought that goes into the creation of this story. And that's where I'm coming from in terms of like its deep or not debate. I think there's more going on than you'd imagine, but you're just not, you know, grabbing onto it because there's nothing to latch on from your perspective.
I kind of disagree. I think oftentimes with a lot of these series and franchises that are like super deep, a lot of that stuff is extrapolation made by the fan base that was never actually intended by the creator.
But that's what I'm saying. The whole point of art is that everything is open to interpretation, and I don't think that's something that's wrong. I think some movies are better than that than others. I don't think there's much you can grasp out of burlesque compared to something like Evangelion, because it's just a lot more complex. I think the complexity of Evangelion is a big part as to why people could say it's deep, because there's more to interpret, there's more to, you know, piece together. It's like, you know, like fucking stories in like literature classes in school, you know, like in my college classes I had to fucking read stories and we had to write our own interpretations of the events, you know, we had to kind of decipher what was happening. It's kind of like what's going on with Evangelion. There's like a ton of different ways you can look at this story. There's a ton of different ways you can break it down, and maybe if a bunch of people all started agreeing on one thing, even if it's not what the author intended, that's still a valid way of looking at it. Just because the author didn't intend it to be that way doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah, Tanner, do you believe in the death of the author?
I don't know what that means. Here's a big difference between you and me here, Jackson, is like, if you see, having a lot of complexity and open-endedness, it allows, interpretation and blah, 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 and people can kind of build their own narratives. To me, that just means that the creator was too lazy to make their own message, their own, defined, plotted-out message.
It sounds like you're just going under the assumption that that's the case, though, Tanner.
I think there's absolutely themes that the author of the production studio and the writers were trying to go with, just because maybe the people that are watching this don't totally agree with that or extrapolate their own interpretations of the events doesn't make it bad. I think Evangelion absolutely has an excuse to be made, mostly just because it was kind of like a form of expression about what the author was going through at the time.
Yeah, I'm just of the position that, that lack of clarity is a detriment to, any book, movie, song, whatever.
That's fair enough, honestly. We all enjoy things for different reasons. I like to be able to get to the end of something and have something to ponder on rather than just be like, this is what you should be taking away from it. Because that's not as, gripping to me, personally.
I'm absolutely right there with you. I think that, there is a lot of fun that I do derive from, the dissection of media, after I finished it. I think that's a big part of why I enjoy Nier so much. It's just that sort of, what I'm able to extrapolate from it afterwards, just on top of it being a really solid game, just, being able to dive more in depth with it is a massive reason as to why I love that series.
Yeah, I'm more of the mind of, my pondering comes when a piece of media has presented me with a point and a message, and then I can go, do I agree or disagree with this? Instead of, having to assemble a point on my own, which is inevitably going to be tainted by my preconceived biases.
I do like that, of course, Neon Genesis Evangelion, the end of Evangelion is the movie that has us talking for half an hour about just fucking art and literature as a topic, and not really that much.
You know what, you're right, this is a perfect movie.
We really haven't said much about this fucking film, to be completely honest. You guys are ragging on it a bit at the start, and then it just got into this fucking stupid topic, we're in a fucking college lecture.
Hey man, this is what the people want to hear, you know? This is some philosophy 101 right here.
That's why I've been quiet this whole time.
This is barely a review of the movie at this point.
It's a review of what a review of the movie would be like.
Facts. This is what to expect going into this review, guys. Anyways, let's go into the actual review.
Yes.
Guapish in the minds of the movies.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really have an actual ton to say about this film, which is crazy. I think this is a really cool experience. I like the times with all the stuff about the theater shit. We were all because I had forgotten everything about this film going into it. We were all like, what the fuck is going on when they played the credits in the middle of the sequence? But the whole point of that was to kind of unnerve you a little bit. And it was also supposed to make the ending of the film hit a lot harder because of just how abrupt it is. You really get to the end and you're like, what the fuck? That's it? That's the end. Yeah, because it's the bad end. It's not supposed to be a good thing. It's supposed to be really abrupt and jarring. That was the whole point. And I think that the way they structured the film really hit home with that. A lot of the experimental shit they did was just cool, I would say.
Are you sure that wasn't just the theater playing a TV edit?
No, that was straight up just how they aired the movie. That's just what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked that up afterward as well, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that did not connect with me at all, unsurprisingly.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are talking about the scenes of looking at a movie theater and the empty seats and shit, and that's supposed to be some metaphorical shit to make you more introspective about what you're watching. That didn't really work on me, to be completely honest. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I didn't understand the whole last half of the movie.
Yeah, I read some comments about people who are like, oh yeah, no, I could imagine watching. I was watching this film by myself in my house, and I was so confused about the people. The fucking movie theater scene and shit, and that I watched in the films, it all connected. This is so cool. This is crazy. And I was sitting here okay, this is kind of weird. But also maybe that was just because I was kind of getting caught up in the wave of you guys saying there's some weird TV edit, and I wasn't really taking it for what it is. Mm-hmm. Which also maybe kind of goes into Tanner's argument, this is a bit too open-ended, and I'm being tainted by my preconceived notions of it, which fair enough. But generally, I think this movie's really good. I think the animation's fucking awesome. I think this is some of, if not the best 2D animated robot action shit we've seen. Not even digging into the non-surface level stuff. Yeah, I know the fucking Ava's fighting was super incredible. I think the animation for the digital scene was awesome. I think just the absurdity of the third impact is incredibly well done and really just goes to show how crazy all of this shit is. It unnerves you. It makes you uncomfortable. I think it's all very well done.
That part where, like, it's showing, like, Shinji as a small child, he's, like, building that sandcastle, there's, like, the fucking swing going back and forth and shit like that. I really like that section. It reminded me of...
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of, like, analog horror shit you'd see nowadays. Just, like, the way all of that was paced.
I agree. I was thinking that as well.
That was literally exactly what I was thinking when I was watching it. Even like this staticky kind of like TV noises you're hearing while watching it, I was straight up like, this is a fucking like precursor to analog horror, which was cool.
Yeah, I didn't understand that scene at all. What was that supposed to mean?
I mean, there's a lot of ways you could interpret it. I think.
Well, never mind.
Yeah, a big way you could interpret it is maybe just like Shinji's struggle in general. He's like putting a lot of work into something and then realizes it's all kind of for naught and then gets angry when he like destroys it himself.
I just assumed that it was supposed to be a representation of Nerve and that he hated Nerve, so he wanted it destroyed.
You could also interpret it that way.
Yeah, a lot of this film is just like fucking Shinji's angst to just fucking distilled for the most part. And just like showing his like relationship with the way that he treats other people. Shit like, fucking, where he's like talking to like Asuka and shit like that. In his fucking mindscape or whatever the fuck, where it's like, Shinji, you fucking psycho, I hate you, okay, I hate you, I fucking despise you, I know what you did to me, you piece of shit, and he's like, please, I just need you to fix me, and when she rejects him, he just immediately lashes out with pure anger. Shinji is an incel confirmed, Tanner.
Yeah,
Thank
despite, to me, I'm not going to really get much more into this, because one, this movie, for me, felt one single-noted, and like, there was just too much I didn't understand, so just based on that, there's nothing really else for me to break down in this movie. If you guys say something, and I tag on, that might be it, but I really don't have anything to say about this movie, for better or for worse.
Dylan, you talked about this movie more than I expected you to, so I appreciate that at least, given
I did a lot of thinking,
said.
Dude, I did a lot of thinking.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to say?
I like that Shinji's father just, like, completely got rejected from even, like, being able to be fucking turned into goop. He was like the only person we saw where it's like, yeah, no, you're a fucking horrific person and we despise you. You're getting nothing except for death here.
Yeah, you do not even get to be part of the...
I thought everybody did die.
Yeah, he died, but he didn't get turned to goop, Dylan. He didn't get to go with everyone else.
I thought getting turned into goop was death.
No,
that's the instrumentality. That's everybody turning into a sea of LCL is the whole point of everyone becoming one, basically. That's like the metaphor of like water, everyone's combining into like one entity, everyone's one, human instrumentality.
Liquid is like living people?
Yeah.
What the
You can interpret it that way.
That's horrendous.
It's like the next stage of humanity, Dylan.
Okay, well.
I fucking love the ending scene of him just immediately lashing out at Asuka again with his anger really solidifies what the themes of the movie are. Also, that scene, I haven't watched this movie in a million years, and watching the Rebuild series, it kind of fucking bastardizes that scene, looking back on it now.
Yeah.
Not a huge fan of that. Like, why the fuck was Asuka's clothes, like, ripped all up and shit in the Rebuild theme? It's, like, supposed to be, like, some weird fan service scene.
Yeah.
What the fuck was up with that? That shit was weird.
Wait, this happened in the Rebuild service scene? What? This was in the other movies?
I'm talking about the Rebuild scenes, where they literally did the ending scene of Shinji and Asuka on the beach. They redid that scene in, like, 3.0+1, I think, was the one they did it in.
I missed that one.
And they kind of bastardizes it. But that's not here or there. That's talking about a completely different fucking movie. Who cares?
Yeah. I've heard people say it like, oh, no, it's like a happy ending, Shinji stops.
That's terrible.
No, dude, no. I think him being part of the LCL liquid would have been better than what he did. But yeah, no, him completely abandoning society and even going for that route at all in the first place proves that it's not a good ending.
Well,
which, the rebuild series is really the good ending because he's living happily.
Yeah.
What I read when we were watching it is like people can like. This is what I'm inferring. This could be wrong. What I saw was people can choose to live if they can represent themselves strong enough in their mind and they have the strong enough will to live, then they can turn themselves back into human, but if they don't have that will to live, then they remain in that form.
Correct.
So other than that, I was just like, so basically Shinji and Asuka are the only two people left on this planet, and you chose for it to be that way. Well, yeah, but that was my interpretation of like, he really just goes to just try to murder her after... No, I don't know. I don't know.
That's how much he's rejecting humanity, Dylan. Personally, for me, like, Shinji, like, not being part of, like, the LCL, it's not necessarily that, like, he's just, like, he just wants to live so much. It's that he just does not want to be around other people so much and rejects others that he does not want to be part of this big conglomerate at all.
The only person I think it is cool too that the touch with that is that the only person he actually let fully connect with him was Rey.
Yeah.
Which is cool because she was the only person that was with him in that moment.
Well, and also fucking Koru, whatever the fuck the gay guy's name is.
Kaworu.
Oh, Kaworu.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, when, like, everyone's fucking turning into goop, like, they see it, like, I guess, like, the person who they most care about. And, like, Koru's the one who fucking appears before him, who, like, springs forth from Rey to be like, hey, dude, it's all chill. Like, come on, let's do the thing.
Yeah, he was the only person that showed him genuine compassion, and he
Yeah.
fucking killed him in the anime.
Spoilers.
True.
Anyway, I feel like this has gone on long enough.
I did expect this movie to be the one we talked about the most. I'm pretty sure it ended up being the one we talked about the most.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably.
I guess I'll kick us off. I think this movie's fucking awesome. I really enjoyed this movie. I would even go as far to say this is my favorite movie we watched this week, and I gave it an S.
Beautiful, dude. Tanner, how about you, dude? You got some shifty eyes going there.
I gave this, it's not my lowest rank this week. I gave this one a C+.
Jesus.
Jesus, are you gonna rate it even lower?
Either that or I'm ranking it higher. You'll never know.
Well, we have to know right now, Dylan. What are you giving it?
Damn it. I gave it a C-.
Wow. All right.
It
What
really
an unexpected turn of events.
It really does you a disservice when you understand absolutely zero about what's going on in a movie, and it was kind of just a visual spectacle, and that was kind of it.
How did you get to C- then? Because I feel like if you had no fucking idea what was happening, it was a nothing movie to you, you would have rated it a lot lower. What was there to latch on that put it into like a low average film for you?
I can appreciate the animation, the voice acting. That was it.
Okay. And that shit was incredible, so I guess that was enough to kick her up there. All right, Nico, how about you?
So I did really like this movie. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Similar situation to Jackson here. The last time I watched this movie was like back in high school, and I initially watched Evangelion. And at the time, I really did not like this movie at all. I was a fucking hater, just like Tanner was. I despised this movie. I was like, this shit is just like some fucking pseudo-intellectual garbage. Fuck this movie. I hate Evangelion. It's just some shit where it's like, oh, yeah, it's so deep because it's like symbolism or some shit where you have to like fucking figure it out for yourself. But like, you know, now that I've had time to like, you know, actually like, you know, grow a little bit, figure out how to like really analyze media and shit like that, I liked this movie significantly more this time around. However, I do think that this movie is a bit too obtuse for a lot of people. I don't think that like it's that insanely deep, but at the same time, I do acknowledge that there is a pretty decent barrier to entry to actually enjoy this film for a lot of people. And I do think that generally, when you're watching media, it should be like on the surface level a really good thing that you don't have to dig super deep into to really get much out of it. And I unfortunately do think this movie does fall into that. So I think I'm gonna give this one a B+.
But why are you talking about like all this shit about other people when you're the one rating this fucking movie?
Dude, I'm a man of the people, okay?
I think that's a non-valid way of ranking movies, but to each their own, I guess. And that lands it at a B overall. This is a very divisive film, unsurprisingly.
How does that mean it compares to the other Evangelions?
Very low.
It's definitely the lowest rated.
Yeah, it's the lowest rated. The 3.0 was the second lowest rated at a B+.
Jesus, yeah.
Okay.
And I think I rated that one pretty low. No, I gave it an A+.
Honestly, I think that does make sense, though, for this film. I feel like this is absolutely, like, the most controversial of the bunch.
True. Yeah, no, this is the fucking most ridiculous shit we watched in a while, I would say.